Tomorrow, the 1st of May 2026, the cosmos orchestrates a masterclass in extreme psychological pressure, profound emotional revelation, and undeniable internal transformation. We are waking up to a sky defined not by gentle lunar transitions, but by a heavy, monumental, and historically significant celestial climax. Do not look to the heavens tomorrow expecting light-hearted serendipity, easy manifestations, or unearned peace of mind. Instead, prepare your physical vessel and your psychological architecture for the exceptionally rare intensity of the full moon in the sign of Scorpio. This is a phenomenal cosmic illumination where the darkest, most hidden, and most intensely guarded aspects of your reality are violently dragged into the blinding light. Furthermore, as if this concentrated mass of emotional gravity were not enough, the moon itself is operating in the fixed water sign ruled by Pluto, forming a tight, inescapable, and emotionally crushing energetic signature specifically designed to expose the brutal reality of your hidden fears and the aggressive fire of your repressed desires. This is an astrological signature of immense, historical weight. It is the collision of the conscious mind, the deepest shadow, the ultimate destroyer, and the immortal soul. To successfully navigate the profound depths of tomorrow without being crushed by its intense gravity, we must meticulously dissect exactly what this energetic convergence demands of your life, your wealth, your body, and your ultimate destiny. Let us begin by understanding the sheer, terrifying majesty of the forces at play on May 1. Scorpio is the archetype of the underworld, the silent observer, the architect of your deepest psychic framework and your instinctual survival. Pluto is the ancient god of the underworld, the raw, bleeding edge of your deepest transformations, your primal survival drive, and your capacity to endure total destruction and initiate rebirth. Mars, the ancient co-ruler of Scorpio, represents the great cosmic warrior, representing raw aggression, restriction, brutal reality, immovable passion, and the absolute necessity of severing what no longer serves you. The full moon is the vast, illuminating spotlight of the collective unconscious, the phase of culmination, exposure, emotional peaks, and the complete dissolution of shadows. Finally, the water element of Scorpio is your immediate emotional reality, your softest vulnerabilities, your subconscious reactions, and your primal need for energetic safety. Tomorrow, these vastly different, contradictory archetypes are forcefully crammed into the exact same room, demanding that you integrate their agonizing lessons simultaneously. The most critical, explosive point of this entire event is the moon's direct opposition to the comfort and stability of the material world. Astrologically, the moon in Scorpio represents deep, boiling water and intense emotion, while the sun in Taurus represents grounded earth and material security. Tomorrow, the fire of your hidden desires and the deep water of your unexpressed emotions will forcefully crash into the immovable, freezing rock of your material reality. This specific alignment triggers a monumental, unavoidable crisis of absolute truth and radical self-change. The illusory fog of comfort, which may have allowed you to live in a state of peaceful denial about your life, your relationships, or your career, is violently blown away by the sharp, analytical wind of Pluto and the aggressive, piercing heat of Martian energy. Tomorrow, you are not allowed to dream. You are forced to wake up and look into the darkness. The universe is holding up a harsh, unforgiving mirror, demanding that you look at the exact, unvarnished reality of your current psychological existence. The full moon in Scorpio creates a profound internal pressure cooker of the soul. You will feel an immense, frustrating restriction and an overwhelming desire to purge. The fiery, impulsive desires of your ego are being chained down by the heavy, leaden weight of karmic truth. You may wake up feeling trapped, exhausted, or deeply burdened by the emotional responsibilities and the toxic attachments you carry. However, this agonizing pressure is completely intentional. The universe restricts your comfort not to destroy your peace, but to test its structural integrity. The universe is forcefully asking you, are your attachments actually real, or are they trauma bonds? Are you willing to bleed for your authentic truth, or will you surrender at the first sign of genuine psychological resistance? The emotional realization that hits you tomorrow will not be a sudden, euphoric epiphany. It will be a heavy, sobering acknowledgement of the shadow work that must be done. You will suddenly see the exact places where you have been undisciplined with your energy, where you have allowed toxic illusions to drain your life force, and where you have failed to establish strong, impenetrable boundaries. The radical self-change demanded by the 1st of May 2026 is the transition from the archetype of the fearful victim to the archetype of the empowered alchemist. You are being cosmically ordered to stop hiding from your reality and to start mastering it. The anger, grief, and frustration that build up in your chest tomorrow are not meant to be unleashed in chaotic, destructive tantrums against others. Instead, this intense emotional volatility must be captured, crystallized, and forged into a weapon of pure, cold transformation. When we turn our unwavering gaze toward the sacred architecture of your wealth, your expanding financial empire, and the ultimate trajectory of your investments, the monumental full moon of May, one dictates an atmosphere of ruthless pragmatism and extreme, strategic elimination. You must deeply understand that wealth generated under the crushing, exposing influence of a Scorpio full moon is absolutely not fast. It is not easy, and it categorically does not come from reckless gambling or fragile wishful thinking. Money tomorrow responds exclusively to the heavy, grounded vibration of absolute mastery, unquestioned authority, painful debt elimination, and agonizingly hard, relentless auditing of your resources. If you have been desperately searching the shadows for a convenient, painless shortcut to massive prosperity by relying on others, tomorrow will harshly and violently shut that deceptive door directly in your face. The cosmos is unapologetically demanding that you completely strip away the comforting illusions of shared wealth, risky loans, or unearned luck. Instead, you are being forced to stand up and face the cold, concrete reality of building a permanent, unshakable financial legacy, laboriously cutting away every single parasitic expense and draining partnership. True financial sovereignty now requires an iron will and the ruthlessness of a master surgeon. This is an incredibly powerful day for severing long-term financial drains, closing binding contracts that threaten your future, or making difficult but entirely necessary cuts to your personal budget. The energy of tomorrow fiercely supports the individual who is willing to look at their bank account, their business plan, or their tax liabilities with cold, unemotional, surgical precision. You must use the illuminating power of this moon to articulate your hidden value with absolute authority, but you must back up those words with the undeniable proof of your financial competence. Do not ask for a loan or pitch a collaborative project tomorrow based on your potential. Pitch it based on your concrete, undeniable track record of independent survival. If your business or your career lacks a solid, independent foundation, the heavy gravity of tomorrow will expose the cracks, causing partnerships built on manipulation or dependency to completely collapse. Let them fall. Do not waste your precious energy trying to save a failing, flawed, and parasitic system. Instead, use the martial energy of Scorpio to clear the financial rubble and use the architectural genius of your survival instinct to draft a new, impenetrable blueprint for your financial future. The wealth you begin to protect tomorrow will require intense sacrifice to materialize, but because it is forged under the extreme pressure of absolute truth, it will be permanent, unshakable, and capable of lasting for generations. You must demand respect in the marketplace, not through loud arrogance or flashy displays, but through the terrifying, silent confidence of someone who knows they are the absolute master of their craft and completely independent. Regarding the intricate machinery of your physical body and your energetic health, the celestial events of the 1st of May 2026 issue a severe warning regarding the management of chronic emotional stress, somatic tension, and the extreme physical danger of unexpressed psychological trauma. The physical vessel is going to bear the direct, agonizing brunt of this cosmic heavy lifting. Scorpio rules the reproductive system, the lower spine, the excretory organs, and the deepest roots of your nervous system. The moon rules the stomach, the lymphatic fluids, and the physical need for comfort. When these intense forces collide, the internal pressure can easily manifest as intense lower back pain, severe digestive purging, sudden pelvic stiffness, or a profound, leaden sense of physical exhaustion and toxic overload. You may feel as though you are literally carrying the weight of your unhealed past on your back. You cannot aggressively exercise your way out of this specific energetic signature. While Martian energy usually demands vigorous physical release, the watery depth of Scorpio demands deep cleansing, conservation, and emotional alignment. The absolute best way to manage your health tomorrow is through highly disciplined, agonizingly slow, and intensely focused somatic practices designed to flush the system. Deep tissue massage, structured hip-opening stretching, yin yoga, or slow-moving water therapies that focus on releasing trapped trauma are deeply supported. You must consciously command your muscles and your organs to release the toxic tension they are holding. Because the emotional veil is so thin in this alignment, there is a severe risk of misdiagnosing your own fatigue as purely physical. Do not turn to alcohol, numbing substances, or digital escapism to numb the profound psychological pressure, as this escapism will easily drag you into a destructive cycle of addiction and dangerous lethargy. Instead, you must aggressively hydrate your system with pure water, consume foods that are deeply grounding and detoxifying, and prioritize protecting your energetic alignment from parasitic individuals. If you feel the intense emotional pressure building, do not explode outward into chaotic drama. Retreat into absolute silence. Sit with a straight, unbroken spine and breathe the dark, heavy tension completely down into the earth. Your physical survival tomorrow depends entirely on your ability to process extreme psychological weight without allowing it to shatter your biological and emotional foundation. You must become a filter, allowing the poison to pass through you without absorbing its venom into your bloodstream. To completely dominate and harness the overwhelming, monolithic power of the 1st of May 2026, you must implement a tactical, hour-by-hour timeline that turns this oppressive cosmic weather into your ultimate psychological advantage. Action tomorrow must be cold, calculated, and relentlessly honest. When you wake up, do not allow yourself to linger in bed or succumb to the heavy emotional fog of sleep. Rise immediately with the terrifying precision of a seasoned warrior facing a crucial battle. Your morning must be defined by strict, unyielding, and solitary routine. Do not look at your phone. Do not allow the chaotic, demanding thoughts of the external world to pollute your sensitive mental architecture. Spend the first 20 minutes of your day in absolute silence, writing out your exact, non-negotiable psychological boundaries for the next 24 hours. You must write these boundaries not as hopes, but as binding contracts of protection with your own soul. Acknowledge the extreme emotional difficulty of the tasks ahead of you, and actively choose to embrace the necessary suffering required to finally let go of the past. As you move into the core working hours of the afternoon, the energetic pressure will reach its most intensely pressurized, volatile peak. This is when the moon fully illuminates the darkest corners of your reality. You will inevitably face toxic individuals, frustrating power struggles, or situations that fiercely attempt to violate your established boundaries. The universe is testing your newly forged resolve. When you hit a psychological wall tomorrow, you absolutely must not react with hot-headed, vindictive anger, nor should you collapse into helpless, weeping despair. You must react with the cold, dead-eyed calculation of a master alchemist. Analyze the obstacle, detach yourself entirely from the emotional manipulation, and systematically dismantle the problem piece by piece with chilling objectivity. When you communicate, let your words be an absolute scalpel. Speak clearly, firmly, and without a single trace of unnecessary apology or emotional pleading. Cut away the pleasantries and deal strictly in facts, deadlines, and absolute psychological realities. This is the hour to execute the hardest, most emotionally demanding severances on your desk. Lean entirely into the friction of letting go. By the time the evening arrives, the profound exhaustion of carrying and releasing this cosmic weight will settle deep into your bones. Your non-negotiable directive for the night is structural and emotional recovery. You cannot simply collapse in front of a screen and absorb more chaotic frequencies. You must purposefully decompress your spine and power down your hyper-vigilant mind. Disconnect entirely from all digital communication, as the external noise will only keep your brain obsessively looping over the psychological battles of the day. Create a physical sanctuary of total darkness and silence. Reflect on the immense discipline and boundary setting you maintained throughout the day. Acknowledge that the emotional pain you endured was not a punishment, but the necessary friction required to sharpen your intuition and purify your soul. Go to sleep with the solemn, powerful understanding that by refusing to break under the immense pressure of the Scorpio full moon, you have fundamentally upgraded your internal operating system. While the monumental gravity of this intense lunar illumination undeniably crushes and reshapes the emotional landscape of every single individual on Earth, the geometry of the cosmos directs the absolute maximum intensity of this alignment toward 3 specific zodiac signs. For these 3 archetypes, the 1st of May 2026 is not just a difficult or emotional day, it is a profound evolutionary choke point, a mandatory rite of passage that will permanently alter the trajectory of their souls and their material reality. The very first and most profoundly impacted sign of this entire celestial convergence is, without a doubt, Scorpio. Because this massive lunar climax intimately involves your own sign, your deep, heavy, and intensely demanding energetic signature, you are bearing the absolute epicenter of this cosmic weight. Scorpio, tomorrow is not just another day. It is a brutal crucible of immense, unavoidable self-exposure and the ultimate test of your personal authenticity. By your astrological nature, you are built to carry incredibly heavy secrets, to navigate the most treacherous psychological underworlds, and to endure the harsh, unspoken realities of the human condition. But tomorrow, the universe is piling the aggressive light of truth, the volatile emotional needs of the collective, and the confusing illusions of your own ego directly onto your stoic shoulders. You will feel an overwhelming, suffocating pressure to purge flawlessly, to transform against impossible odds, and to maintain absolute structural integrity while your old identity violently dies. The universe is forcefully stripping away any remaining tolerance you possess for self-deception, both within your own actions and in the relationships you maintain. Under this immense gravitational pull, you may experience a sudden, brutal, and profoundly sobering realization regarding your core identity or a foundational life choice. You might finally see clearly, without comforting illusions, that an emotional armor you have exhausted yourself carrying is actually the exact thing suffocating your growth. Do not fear this devastating realization. The harsh truth revealed to you tomorrow, Scorpio, is the ultimate key to your absolute sovereignty. Use this immense, crushing pressure, not as a reason to hide, but as the exact fuel needed to completely rebuild your empire from the deepest bedrock up. Violently and unapologetically reject any obligation or relationship that does not serve your ultimate, long-lasting transformation. Step fully into your role as the unquestioned, unyielding alchemist in your own life. The universe is directly giving you the cosmic mandate to rule the shadows, but you must first categorically prove that you can survive the blinding light of your own truth. The second zodiac sign thrust violently into the transformative fires of the 1st of May 2026 is Taurus. With the full moon in your opposite sign of Scorpio, shining a blinding light directly into your 7th house of committed partnerships and binding contracts, your energetic operating system will violently crash, mandating a complete reboot. You are the peaceful provider who thrives exclusively on stability and predictable material security. Tomorrow, however, the universe forcefully drags you into the chaotic, messy waters of deep emotional entanglement. You will feel an agonizing physical level of internal frustration as your desperate desire to maintain the status quo is met with intense emotional demands or hidden betrayals within your alliances. Taurus, the cosmos demands you learn the agonizing lesson of releasing control. You cannot rely on stubborn willpower to ignore festering relational wounds. If you try to force a toxic relationship to remain comfortable, you will break your heart against Scorpio's truth. Mature your attachment style. Evaluate your connections with cold, calculating precision rather than stubborn possessiveness. By mastering your fear of change, you will transition permanently from a fearful hoarder of security into an untouchable generator of deep intimacy. The third sign destined for a monumental reality-shattering experience on this specific day is Leo. With this massive lunar climax forming a harsh square to your expressive energy, hitting your 4th house of home and foundational psychology, you stand in the crosshairs of a deeply uncomfortable internal awakening. You are the radiant performer who naturally exists in the warm realms of public adoration, expertly projecting a flawless regal image. However, tomorrow, the aggressive exposure of hidden secrets and the brutal emotional reality of your past will forcefully invade your tranquil kingdom. The comfortable narrative of superiority you safely hide within will be violently burned away. Deeply hidden insecurities, toxic childhood conditioning, and private emotional responsibilities you have desperately avoided will demand agonizing attention. The most destructive thing you can do tomorrow, Leo, is attempt to perform your way out of this pain or drown your anxiety in mindless distraction. The universe aggressively demands you ground your vast creative energy into the painful dirt of psychological healing. Bravely face the unvarnished facts of your past, demand absolute honesty, and burn away the limiting illusions of ego that trap you in needing external validation. Tomorrow, the 1st of May 2026, is a day of monumental psychological gravity, intense emotional pressure, and necessary structural suffering. It is a defining day where the soul is forcefully required to wear the heavy armor of cold truth. It is a crucial moment in time where the comfortable illusions of our daily lives are violently shattered by the heavy hammer of undeniable psychological reality, and where the universe forcefully tests the foundational integrity of everything we have ever built. You absolutely cannot escape the immense, crushing pressure of this rare full moon, nor should you even attempt to run from it. You must constantly remember that it is only this exact, agonizing level of extreme pressure that creates the flawless, unbreakable diamond of the human spirit. By deeply understanding the demanding and uncompromising nature of these cosmic energies, by aggressively applying extreme, unwavering discipline to your daily actions, and by maintaining an intense, fearless focus on constructing a new reality based on absolute emotional truth, you can expertly utilize this heavy alignment to fundamentally secure your permanent legacy. Speak your boundaries into existence with cold, unshakable authority. Vigorously protect your physical vessel from the overwhelming weight of atmospheric stress, and walk boldly, stoically, and with terrifying discipline into the absolute mastery of your own fate.